The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
CrossedFlags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is to you. For us, it's afternoon as we record this on Tuesday afternoon. Hope everything is going well so far this week. Shaping up to be a big week here as we've got everything pretty much either in season or kicking off their season this coming weekend. Full schedule, of course, on the big show coming up on Saturday morning. And it's going to be a busy one, so make sure that you're tuned in for all of the details, because with a schedule like this, you're going to have to pay very close attention to what's going on. Let's put it this way. Other than the NHRA and Formula E, I think every one of the series that we cover is in action this coming weekend.
I think so.
Preview. Let's look back to last weekend, though, here. And after what was kind of a hot weekend, and it was funny, I caught the end of, on television, I should say, of the Indycar race at St. Petersburg on Sunday, and they were talking about how it was warm in St. Petersburg, and with the aero screen and everything, how it kind of traps the heat in on the drivers. But it didn't appear like the drivers were having that much of a problem after the fact. In the post-race, we didn't really see any of the drivers seem to have any problems which needed medical attention. On the other hand, you go to Circuit of the Americas right after that, temperatures about the same, somewhere in the 80s, give or take, not quite as humid as what we're going to see probably, 2 months. But still 80 degrees, and you know this, being the resident driver, probably even better than I do. You get inside a car that is enclosed as a Cup Series car is, as this Gen 7 car is. Yeah, you've got a window net, so you technically have an open driver's window, for lack of a better term, but the way that the aero goes over this car, that's not really going to put a whole lot of fresh air into that car. So they're using cool suits and trying to get air into the driver somehow, and it failed for a couple of the drivers, or at least one.
Well, the Macaducts, where air comes in through the side windows and the seat post windows, and then you have the opening that's in the front windshield right beside the driver's name logo on the top upper part of the windshield. And then you have the slits in the rear windshield that will try to allow air in there. But it's still a defeated purpose when you have the engine exhaust heat that comes out right underneath the driver's feet. And with this, still, the way I would categorize it, still the ridiculous underbody of the car. There's nowhere for heat to go, and it can't escape quickly like it should.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So we've got a post-race picture straight off of Fox's coverage here, where AJ Allmendinger ended up being put onto a stretcher and taken in. He was obviously not feeling well. There was a quick picture of him laying on the ground after he'd gotten out of the car at the end of the race. They got him a whole lot of fluids. I would presume probably even gave him an IV in the infield care center. He was released. That's the good news. Then there's the story of William Byron. William Byron actually needed a substitute driver.
Alex Bowman.
I'm sorry, Alex Bowman, yeah. This wasn't necessarily a situation of the heat. I don't think the heat helped it. Probably exacerbated a situation where he was feeling under the weather, I guess was the better way to put that.
I think he had some form of virus.
Okay.
He tried to gut it out as long as he could, but he just couldn't make it. And they, of all people, surprisingly, they pulled Myatt Snyder to finish the last 20 laps of the race.
Yeah, and with as much time as it took for them to change out and get Myatt Snyder into the car and buckled in and then back out onto the track, there was no chance of him doing anything but finish near the back of the field anyway.
Well, they had to my understanding, they had to completely change the seat insert because of where Alex Bowman got sick.
So there you go.
But there is a story out there too that this been been talked about by a couple of people that
Okay.
I would say would be truthful and have some truth behind it. Apparently, they approached Regan Smith first, but Regan Smith said, "Let the kid have it."
Okay. Regan, of course, working for Fox Sports. If you're in that situation, I'll put you in the place of Regan Smith. Are you constantly going around with your race suit and helmet, and just in case somebody calls, or is that not really top of mind?
There's an old saying, and it applies. It applies to motorsports in general. Never go to the track without your helmet and suit.
So you think probably Regan's somewhere had his suit packed away?
He
Just in case?
probably had something somewhere.
Okay. Something he might have been able to access fairly quick. But again, good news is AJ Allmendinger treated and released. Alex Bowman treated and released, so they were able to go home later that night. They should be out in Phoenix without any problems whatsoever. That brings us to the man who did something that, think about this, we're now, 77 years, 78 years into NASCAR history?
76.
Okay. Into NASCAR history. We saw something that we've never seen before. Tyler Reddick winning the first 3 races of the season. Now, we've seen drivers win 3 races in a row, but never to kick off a season. We talked about it on the big show. We hinted at the fact that there were only a handful of drivers that had ever won the first 2 races of the season. Tyler Reddick became the 6th one, and now he stands all by himself. Thinking about the history of NASCAR, would you have thought that the first driver to win the first 3 races of the year would have been Tyler Reddick? No disrespect to him.
No, you would expect somebody like a Richard Petty or Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, or Jimmy Johnson to have done that feat, but they didn't.
Some of those classic names of all time, yeah.
Or even a David Pearson.
Sure.
You know, with all the mess that happened last year, and now they come out and win 3 straight for the conspiracy theorists. Shut up.
Yeah, really.
Just hush. Hush
Yeah.
and shut up.
I mean, here's the thing. 2311 gets their stuff from Joe Gibbs Racing. We know how good Joe Gibbs Racing stuff is. It doesn't surprise me that much that 2311 has gotten on a heater. We were expecting it, truth be told, to happen last year, and it just somehow never materialized. The fact that it finally has, I'm not really all that surprised by it.
I would have expected probably the team to do a 3-peat, but not one specific driver.
I could agree with that. And truth be told, but for a kind of a ill-timed and bad decision on the part of Bubba Wallace, maybe Atlanta might have gone a different way.
Never will know.
Yeah. That being said, more drivers have won 4 races in a row at the Cup Series level, obviously, than won the first 3 races of the year. We'll detail that more during the big show on Saturday. What are the chances? Okay, Daytona to Atlanta, we can kind of think, yeah, a lot the same kind of car, same kind of mentality. Now you go to COTA. Tyler Reddick does something that we haven't seen at COTA before in the Cup Series, which is become the first driver in the Cup Series to win 2 races at that track. So I don't think it should be that big of a shock. Tyler Reddick's really a good road course racer. Now we go to Phoenix. On the scale of 1% to 100%, what kind of a chance do you give Tyler Reddick to go 4 in a row?
I'm going to say 35-65.
35%, about a third of a chance, 33%. Yeah.
35-65.
Okay.
Because, I mean, this is another 750 race.
Yeah.
So it's going to be who takes care of their stuff the best.
If there's anything so far in the first 3 races of the year that has surprised you other than Tyler Reddick sweeping them all, what might it be for you? Just on a quick overview, and you don't have to go into detail, just anything kind of stand out to you as like, wow, wasn't expecting that.
If you take away him getting caught up in somebody else's mess at Daytona and it relegating him to well, it's just really a 2-part deal. with it relegating him to a sour finish. Let's word it that way. In complete total hindsight, the leader, the most consistent car of Trackhouse so far has been Shane Van Gisbergen.
Mm-hmm. He was who I was looking at because just earlier today I was going through and coming up with a race recap and points rundown. Shane Van Gisbergen right now is in the top 5 in points in the Cup Series.
Yeah, he is. But I told someone else this yesterday that was just asking me my opinion on how things are shaping out. I told him that the separation will start beginning this weekend.
Agreed. Atlanta's a different animal. You and I have talked about that many times. Atlanta's a very different animal.
And part 2 of that, what surprised me the most is Connor Zilic has kind of been snake bit the first 3 races of bad luck of not of his doing.
Well, I'll go in on that bad luck side, and I'll throw out the guy who I'm rooting for, the guy who was the last one to drive the 14 car, Chase Briscoe. I thought that they had gotten kind of over the little bumps and things that you normally would expect of a first-year driver with a new crew chief and a new car and a new team. But man, Daytona was not good, and at COTA they bust the transaxle and he finishes dead last. What's going on at the 19?
Can't control the parts failure. 1, 2, and with super speedway style racing like Atlanta and Daytona was right off the bat, you can't control somebody else's mess that they start.
Yeah. So same situation as Connor Zilic, kind of snake bit. We'll see whether or not that those 2 cars can turn it around. We'll see whether SVG really does have a handle on ovals better than what we thought. And, well, 2311 and Tyler Reddick. Interesting situation. Then we want to take a look because race number 1 of the 2026 season in Formula One's here. And we could talk Cadillac, and in fact, we will on Saturday's big show, but maybe the bigger story going into this weekend is what we're hearing out of the British make Aston Martin. Aston Martin is going to a new engine. They have Honda engines this year, but there's something just way off with these guys. And it's leading to the point where we may not see them for the full race on Saturday evening, U.S. time.
According to things I read from motorsport.com of things that they're talking about, I'd say it's a very real possibility because there's apparent electrical and battery problems with Honda for the power units that they're fighting, and it will not sustain power. So Aston Martin is talking about maybe not even practicing, maybe not even qualifying, run the formation lap and a handful of laps and park in the car.
What is there anything that they can learn from running the first few laps?
If you can't run the full race or practice like you need to, you can't learn nothing.
So that brings us to the question of what's next on the docket for Aston Martin, because we're in pretty rapid fire formation here the first couple of weeks where we've got this race, we've got China, we've got Japan coming. We'll deal with what they've got in the Middle East after that, and we'll talk about that more on Saturday. But you've got 3 races in pretty rapid fire fashion here. You've got a little while before the traditional time where in Formula One cars go out and get that update that we always talk about. Are they going to just kick off the season by running a few laps each race and just showing up basically and doing nothing?
It's really hard to say, but if I'm Lawrence Stroll, I would be on the first plane to wherever Honda HPD headquarters is and driving my foot up somebody's rear end, because if I'm putting all this money into being Honda's flagship team for Formula One, they better get their act together, because it's not more of an Aston Martin problem. I think it's more of a Honda problem.
Right. And the strange thing about this is that this should be largely the same power plant that Max Verstappen used to almost come back and grab the championship last year. What in the world has changed over the course of the offseason to make this thing so radically undependable, unreliable?
I honestly think that now Ford has the ownership of that blueprint from Honda that Red Bull had.
Mm-hmm.
So I now think Ford has that, and Honda probably had to go back to the drawing board.
No, they had to go clean sheet.
If Honda had to go back to the drawing board, it's going to be a long year for the green team.
It could very well be, because you might remember when Honda came back into Formula One, we were talking Formula One at that point in time. We had just really kind of started talking Formula One on this show. And woo, the growing pains back then took a couple of years and took them a couple of teams, actually, because one team, McLaren, kicked them out.
Honda should have held on to their blueprint and everything with from the engine package that Red Bull had, and held on to it and proceeded to use it with Aston Martin, because Aston Martin's in a prime position with Honda.
Mm-hmm.
But
or one would have thought,
if Honda can't get their act together, I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the thing that blows my mind. I mean, yeah, we know that Ford took over the old Honda engine department over there for Red Bull, but shouldn't you still have all the details and the blueprints and everything that you had worked up for that engine? Shouldn't you still have that?
There should be a CAD file somewhere of it.
One would think. Honda, figure it out. I mean, you build great road cars. They're very popular here in the United States of America. You see them all over the place, and people who buy Hondas tend to be very loyal to them. I want to get that engine situation in Formula One fixed. Aston Martin, if you're a fan, sorry, James Bond is not looking good when it comes to F1 this year. We shall see. All right. So like we said, busy weekend schedule coming up this weekend. We'll have it all at the beginning of the show, the big show coming up. And unless I miss my guess, we're going to be on at our regular time, which is 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. You can, of course, catch it, CRN Live. Search that on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, comment. Feel free to do that. We appreciate it. Want to say a big thank you to producer John, who gave you the pictures that we saw just a little bit ago. Producer Molly for helping us out as well behind the scenes. My co-host Matt, who is feeling a little bit under the weather. Hopefully you're going to get better, my friend. We'll see you on Saturday morning.
I hope so.
And with all the news of the week, we will be ready to go with the big show, CRN, ready to go. Big show, Saturday. Don't forget to join us. And of course, we got another edition of CrossedFlags coming up 1 week from today. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, our listeners and viewers. Spotify, don't forget about that. You can take us on the road with you wherever you're going. Plug us in and listen to it on your car radio. Yeah, you don't get the pictures, but you know what? You get all the good stuff along with it. And again, subscribe if you have already. We thank you for doing so. Tell your friends about it so that they do as well. We'll talk to you on Saturday morning. Until then, enjoy it.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.